There's an invisible mistake almost every cat owner makes in the first 5 seconds of walking through their own front door, and it quietly chips away at your cat's sense of emotional safety, one day at a time. Today, 9 daily habits that are hurting your cat without you ever realizing it. Small things. Things that look like nothing. And the last one is that exact 5-second mistake, the one you're probably repeating today, tomorrow, and every day after that, without a single warning sign that it's doing damage. Before we get to that, something may be working against your cat right now, in the air of your own home, in the sound of your own voice, in the way you say hello. 9 habits. All common. All well-intentioned. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which ones you're guilty of, and more importantly, exactly what to do instead. Your cat's entire world is built on smell, a sense many times more sensitive than yours, capable of detecting concentrations you'd never notice. Scented candles and heavy cleaners are an obvious problem. But here's the habit nobody thinks twice about: spraying perfume just to unwind at home after a long day. To you, that's self-care. To your cat, it's an assault on the one signal that tells him you're safe, your natural scent. But in reality, that artificial cloud overwrites the exact chemical fingerprint he uses to recognize you as his person. The same mistake shows up in the litter box. Scented litter, bought entirely for your comfort, can make a cat avoid the box out of pure stress, and that avoidance often escalates into serious urinary problems. This is a health-adjacent pattern, so if you notice straining, frequent trips to the box, or blood in the urine, that's a vet visit, not a home fix. Don't wait it out. Save your perfume for the moment you're walking out the door, not the moment you're settling in. Switch to unscented, neutral cleaning products at home, and keep the litter itself completely fragrance-free. Your comfort and his sense of safety don't have to compete, you just have to know which battles to give up. Cats are obsessed with control, and they despise surprises. That's not a personality flaw, it's survival wiring. Forcing your cat to greet guests the moment they walk in, introducing a new pet immediately, or holding him on your lap against his will create something you won't see right away: a silent, cumulative trauma. A 2019 study published in the journal Current Biology found that kittens form an attachment bond with their owners that's nearly identical to the one infants form with their parents. They look to you specifically for protection in unfamiliar situations. But in reality, when you let a stranger invade that space by force, even a well-meaning one, that sense of protection collapses in an instant. And the social anxiety that follows doesn't fade in a day. It can shape how your cat responds to new people for years. Ask visitors to ignore the cat completely when they first arrive. No reaching, no calling him over, no direct eye contact. Let him be the one to approach, on his own schedule, using his own nose to decide who's safe. Giving him the power of choice is what actually builds a confident, socially secure cat. He can't speak your language, but he is constantly trying to reach you, through meows, through toys dropped at your feet, through that slow, deliberate blink from across the room. Here's the detail almost no owner knows: adult cats rarely meow at each other at all. In the wild, the meow mostly disappears after kittenhood. It was shaped specifically, evolutionarily, to communicate with humans. When your cat meows at you, that sound exists for one purpose: to talk to you and only you. But in reality, every time you scroll past it, mute it out, or wave him off because you're busy, he doesn't just stay quiet. He learns that reaching out doesn't work. Do that enough times and the attempts get quieter and rarer. Whenever he initiates contact, acknowledge it. A word in a soft voice, a glance, a 2-second touch is enough. He isn't asking for a conversation. He's asking to know he was heard. A cat's hearing is an evolutionary masterpiece, tuned to frequencies and volumes that sit entirely outside human range. A slightly loud television doesn't sound a bit much to him. It lands like a wall of thunder in an enclosed room. Slammed doors, raised voices, music at full volume, all of it puts his nervous system on immediate high alert. But in reality, because he can't trace where the noise is coming from or why, his brain has only one interpretation available: the environment just became dangerous. This is a health-adjacent pattern worth taking seriously. Chronic noise stress can show up as compulsive grooming to the point of bald, irritated patches, sudden appetite loss, or a cat who startles violently at completely ordinary movement. If any of that sounds familiar, it's worth a vet visit alongside the environmental fix. Keep the sound level in your home reasonably steady day to day, and on the days you know will be loud, guests, renovations, a party, make sure he has one quiet, closed-off room to retreat to and reset in peace. Cats simply do not process punishment the way we intend it to land. Yell at him for scratching the couch, or startle him with a spray bottle, and he does not connect that correction to the behavior. Scratching is instinctive, hardwired, not an act of defiance he's choosing to commit. But in reality, the only association his brain actually forms is far simpler and far worse. The person he trusts just turned into something frightening, without warning. Punishment doesn't teach a lesson. It breaks trust instantly, and it can push a cat toward defensive aggression, hiding, or stress urinating outside the box entirely, often mistaken by owners for spite, when it's actually anxiety. Redirect instead of correcting. Put a scratching post directly next to the couch cushion he's already targeting, and reward him with a treat the second he uses it instead. If he's climbing the counter, give him a tall shelf nearby and praise the alternative. It works far better, and far faster, than fear ever could. Cats need genuinely uninterrupted isolation to stay mentally regulated. They deliberately choose strategic retreat spots: the top of a cabinet, the inside of a dark box, the back of a closet, and to your cat, those locations are sacred ground. That's where cortisol drops, where fear gets processed, and where the nervous system recovers from the sensory overload of a normal day. But in reality, pulling a sleeping cat out of that spot for a cuddle, or letting kids surround his hideout while he's already retreated there, sends one unmistakable message: nowhere in this house is actually safe. And a cat who doesn't feel safe even in his own refuge starts living in a low, constant state of vigilance that never fully switches off. Make it a firm house rule: if he has tucked himself away or is asleep in his spot, he is invisible to everyone until he chooses to come out. Respect the retreat, and he'll come back to you on his own terms, and in a noticeably better mood. Physical affection for a cat is a trade of scent and trust, and cats are far more precise about where that trade happens than most owners assume. Every cat carries a unique touch map, and getting the geography wrong causes real, physical discomfort, not just mild annoyance. The most common mistake is petting him the way you would a dog. The belly, the paws, and the base of the tail are highly vulnerable zones for what is, biologically, still a small predator. Touching them can trigger a sharp defensive strike that seems to come out of nowhere, but it isn't random at all. But in reality, a kitten who once loved belly rubs can grow into an adult cat who can't tolerate that same touch a year later, as his instincts mature. Stick to the universal safe zones instead: the cheeks just under the chin, and the base of the ears, both dense with scent glands that release calming, familiar signals. Only move beyond those zones if his entire body is visibly loose and relaxed, not just tolerating you. Hunting is your cat's core psychological fuel, not a hobby, a need. The act of chasing something floods his brain with dopamine and a genuine sense of purpose, which is exactly why the laser pointer, used carelessly, becomes a problem instead of a treat. The chase itself is exciting, but it creates one unresolved issue: he never physically catches anything. But in reality, spending minutes chasing an illusion that offers no real conclusion builds up frustration in the body with nowhere for it to go, and over time that shows up as chronic, low-grade stress. Don't throw out the laser pointer, just change how the session ends. In the final minute of play, guide the dot onto a physical toy or straight toward a treat, and let him land one real physical pounce on something solid. That final capture is what lets his nervous system actually close the loop and relax. And here it is, the 5-second mistake we promised at the very start. While you're out during the day, your cat's entire world is essentially frozen, waiting for the sound of your key in the door. On autopilot though, our instinct the moment we walk in is to head straight for the counter to drop our keys, or sit down to pull off our shoes. To you that's just routine, background behavior you don't even register. To him that silence in the first few seconds says something much colder: you don't matter right now. Research out of Oregon State University has found that cats actively seek reassurance and a sense of security from their owner, specifically in the moment of reunion. It's a real, measurable behavioral response, not projection. But in reality, skipping that moment consistently, day after day, builds a low hum of chronic insecurity that never gets the chance to resolve. The fix costs you almost nothing. When you walk in, stop everything for 2 full seconds before you do anything else. Crouch down to his level, say his name in a soft voice, and give his cheek a light touch. That's the entire gesture. It reconnects the two of you instantly, every single time. A cat's mind isn't some unsolvable mystery locked away behind instinct and silence. It just asks for attention to the small details most of us walk past without a second thought. Adjust your daily routine to fit his world instead of forcing him into yours, and that cold, independent exterior starts to soften into something closer to unbreakable trust. Are really telling you, go watch that one next. because your cat already knows all of this. Now so do you. So tell me, which one of these 9 are you changing today? Drop it in the comments below. And if this actually helped you see your cat a little differently, send it to another cat owner who needs to hear it too. If you want to understand exactly what's going on behind those slow blinks and quiet stares, the video on your screen right now breaks down what your cat's eyes